A father and his young son walk along an Athenian beach at dawn. The father points to the rotting hulls of beached warships and says, "This is how Athens treats leaders it no longer needs." That boy was Themistocles. Decades later, after saving Greece at Salamis, he would die a Persian governor, his face stamped on Persian coins. The man whose navy defeated Persia ended his life serving the great king. To understand how it came to this, go back to a silver strike. In 493 BC, as Archon, the annually elected chief magistrate, Themistocles began fortifying a rocky promontory called the Piraeus, 4.5 miles southwest of Athens. It has 3 natural harbors. While other Greek cities clung to inland citadels, he saw a future built on the sea. Then Marathon happened and the project stalled. 483 BC, miners at Laurium strike a massive vein of silver. Athenian custom said distribute the windfall, every citizen gets a share. Themistocles stood up and demanded something else. Built 200 triremes, 3 banked odd warships, the deadliest vessels of the age. He won the vote by the thinest of margins. His justification became one of antiquity's most quoted lines. "I do not know how to play a lyre or tune a harp, but I know how to make a small city great." Those ships fought at Salamis in 480 BC and broke the Persian fleet. Victory made Themistocles untouchable for a moment. He finished the walls of Piraeus, rebuilt Athens' own walls over furious Spartan objections, and then did something nobody had done before. He hired a theorist to design a city from scratch. His name was Hippodamus of Miletus, and he would reshape what a Greek city could be. The old Greek city was a defensive maze. Streets twisted and forked deliberately, designed to confuse invaders who breached the walls. Hippodamus rejected this entirely. He laid out the Piraeus as a grid, boulevards, side streets, and alleys all governed by Pythagorean ratios. Critics warned that straight streets made cities easier to attack. Hippodamus answered with something new. A city should serve its living, not just defend against the dead. Orient the grid to capture prevailing winds. Align streets to admit winter sun and block summer glare. Public health, light, and beauty became design values. He was the first known theorist of urban planning. But Themistocles' brilliance was matched by his enemies. He stood outside the old aristocratic circles, a man whose mother may not have been Athenian, whose power rested on sailors and the dock workers, not on noble bloodlines. The aristocrats waited, and the accusations began to pile up. Misappropriation of public funds, embezzlement, and most damaging of all, accepting bribes from foreign powers during the war. A surviving poem records the rage of one briber whose payments Themistocles took but whose interest he failed to serve. First came ostracism, formal democratic exile by potsherd vote 10 years away from Athens. Then a darker sentence, formal condemnation with a price on his head. He fled to Argos, then westward, but the Delian League, the Athens-led naval alliance, now patrolled the entire Aegean. The fleet he had built was hunting him. No Greek city could shelter him without facing Athenian warships in its harbor. The savior of Greece had made Greece itself uninhabitable for him. Nowhere in the Greek world was safe, which left only one place to go. Themistocles crossed the Aegean, eluding Athenian patrols, and landed on the coast of Asia Minor. He stopped there for an entire year, not hiding but studying. He learned Persian. He wanted to address the great king without an interpreter, with the dignity of a man who took his new world seriously. By the time he reached the royal court, Xerxes, the king he had defeated at Salamis, may already have been dead, and his son Artaxerxes on the throne. The savior of Greece bowed before the Persian king and asked for sanctuary. The great king granted him 3 cities to govern: Magnesia on the Maeander for his bread, Myos for his meat, and Lampsacus on the Hellespont for his wine. Themistocles ruled them well. He minted coins bearing his own portrait, Persian on one side, Greek on the other, a quiet emblem of his impossible position. For generations after his death, the people of Manasseh honored him with monuments and remembered him as a just governor. The man who saved Greek freedom spent his last years as a loyal servant of the empire that freedom had defeated. Return now to the beach at dawn, the father pointing at the rotting house. The warning was not metaphors, it was prophecy. The democracy Themistocles armed had a short memory and a sharp knife. His story became the template for every great Athenian who followed. Aristides exiled, Cimon ostracized, Pericles fined. Alcibiades hunted across two empires. The pattern is not an accident. A democracy that distributes power broadly grows suspicious of any single citizen who rises too high, and discards him precisely when his work is done. Themistocles built the walls, the harbors, and the fleet that made Athens immortal. Athens repaid him with exile, a death sentence, and the cruelest fate of all, forcing him to find his only refuge in the empire he had defeated. The rotting triremes his father had pointed to, Themistocles became one of them.